Welcome to the KIPS Personal Trainer Application Podcast. My name is Tyler Valencia, and I'm the president of KIPS and the owner of Time to Train Fitness. Today we have a returning guest, somebody that I am close with that I've had actually the pleasure of meeting. Sometimes on this podcast I meet and bring on guests that I haven't had the chance to meet in person, but we've had the chance to hang out, have a meal together, and it's always good to reconnect with our guest, Sean Sewell. He is somebody that is very knowledgeable in our topic today, and somebody that is a fit pro, just like everybody tuning in. But for today, we are going to be talking about being an online coach. At the time of this recording, we're in December, early December 2020, and online training is booming. It's where a lot of us are, and the ability to create quality online content, it's there. And we're going to talk about a lot of different items, from technology to setup to even the learning curve for it. And this is really a great episode to tune in for. Before we jump into that, Sean, thank you so much for coming on the podcast again.
Oh, my pleasure, Tyler. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to talk with you on and offline. I learn a lot from you. I love shooting messages back and forth on a Friday night, like, what are you looking into this weekend? And sharing how to best help people you care about.
Yes. And the funny thing that him and I were joking before we started the record here was that we have two topics that, and I'll have to get Sean back on to talk about affiliate marketing, because he does a great job with his Engearment.com and what they do for outdoor life. And but today it really sparked from this message that Sean sent me, his new setup, which he's going to paint the picture for a little bit later on, but just a top-notch streaming setup for a fit pro. I mean, he'll get to, I don't want to spoil it, but he'll get to it in a bit. And I was like, okay, that's definitely something we got to chat about. So Sean, let's kick it off with talking about new items that you're going to purchase. So for most people listening to this, everything's going to be new. And there's a lot of information out there to digest, just like with anything educational, a lot of information out there, who to trust and where to go. So where do you usually go for credible reviews and even research on different products?
Well, besides you, and no, I go on YouTube, and guilty pleasure, I like to watch a lot of tutorial videos for very high quality content creators like the Peter McKinnons and people who are not in the fitness realm, but do create very attractive, very good sounding, high quality videos that you can learn from, like how to do this. And they'll probably pop up with like 2 million views because they are really good at presenting. They're really good at editing, keeping your attention, and delivering value. And that can go for any profession, fitness professional or anything out there. So always delivering value. So when I go to look to see what camera setup they're using, what interface they're using, are they doing live, what microphones are they using, what's their workflow like? That's a really big one too. We were just talking about before push and record is workflow, making that efficient and able to replicate that process and even teach it to people on your team. And there's a lot to it. So I guess basically I have trust in a few people online in YouTube, and I've even messaged them. And the cool thing about YouTube is you can leave comments and they'll often reply to you. I know on my YouTube channel, I probably get 40 comments a day. I do my best to reply to them. And you build a real relationship with these people, a real community, and you learn from each other and support each other. It's really fun. So YouTube.
I dig it. And I will tell people that, Sean and I both enjoy using technology for workouts, streaming workouts, and we actually have pretty different setups. What we're talking about today with different setups, there's not just one way to go about it. There's multiple ways. And YouTube is a very useful tool. And I'll say that a lot of the information that I got a lot of setup stuff from people that were dealing with church streams. They were streaming masses. I don't know the correct plural of that. But church individuals on YouTube, music industry individuals, since a lot of what we are doing for the fitness industry in general, it has to do with audio. So why not look at musicians that were doing potentially streams of their music? Great areas to look at, just because our industry, when this shutdown happened, not many were doing it. I think a very small percentage, but we were all quickly pushed into it. So there we look at different areas in order to get that. And just how Sean just said, a great point, that on YouTube, there is community. There is people that will gladly reply to comments, or even, I'm just going to say this because I see a ton. Make sure you skim the comments first. Your question answer might already be in there. Instead of just quickly throwing your question in there, you might just quickly find it in one of the comments, because I'm sure that a lot of people are in the same boat as you. So, Sean, let's get to the next one, because this is gonna be a fun one. To your best ability, can you paint the picture of what your setup is right now? He ran me through this, and I was, of course, just in awe and loving every part of it. But kind of paint the picture for your setup right now, for this audio only podcast.
Yes. All right. This is gonna be fun. Okay, so there's a few levels. So if I'm going to do a group Zoom class, which I do, half dozen or to a dozen a week, I usually use one camera, and the camera I use is, and it can be any camera, a mirrorless camera. I use a Panasonic G9. I have a G7 as well. It's not really about the quality of the camera. The camera is just a vessel to transmit the image. You can use a webcam. I found that the two biggest contributing factors to high quality is audio and lighting. So you could get away with, a good webcam with nice bright lighting. I personally, and my clients and my students appreciate this. I get this feedback very often. The high quality of using a real basic mirrorless camera, or if you have a DSLR, anything with a HDMI or mini HDMI or micro HDMI out, and that goes into a capture card. Now, like the benchmark capture card is an Elgato Cam Link, and I know during like April they're out of stock, and I think I overpaid for sure, but I overpaid and it paid for itself in the first day, because it captures such a noticeably cleaner image. And the first time you use it with your people, your students, your clients, your customers, they're going to notice right away that you stand out. You literally stand out. And it looks very clear. So long story longer, any kind of camera. Currently, as we're filming this, I have a G7 with a prime lens. A prime lens is going to make a bokeh, a really cool looking background, a kind of blurry background. If you have an iPhone and you use portrait mode, that's what it's going to look like in a video. So very attractive. And it definitely makes the presenter stand out again, which you want to stand out. You don't want to be lost in the background. You are presenting your service. And next thing is the audio. So as a fitness professional, I will use a wireless microphone setup. My personal choice, and I know this is the go-to for most presenters, either in private events or on YouTube or live streaming, is the Rode Wireless Go. It is $200. It is a package, a transmitter and a receiver, and it can go into your camera, it can go into your smartphone, it can go into a Zoom recording device, and the sound quality is superb. It is always good. I record in the mountains oftentimes, and it does a great job of muffling out the wind. And the only drawback is if you have on your lapel, and if you have a big neck, and it kind of rubs sometimes, so keep that in mind. And that is my setup. So Rode Wireless Go, $200. That goes to either into the camera itself, or I actually go through, get nerdy, into this is the rabbit hole for sure, the audio. I use a Scarlett audio interface, and that's about $120, I think, 120, 100. And it has two channels. And the one channel is for the microphone. The other channel, this is pretty fun, I learned this from Tyler, I use my music through. So in my group classes, they get to enjoy a nice selection of songs, and they hear it, and then they hear my voice over that. And so it's just like they're in a group class that they all miss from in person, and they get to enjoy it at home with their dogs and cats and kids. And I tell you what, this little investment, under $500 all in, and I use it every day, hours a day, and it always works. It delivers a great high quality content, and it is very noticeable. And especially if you take your services very seriously, whether it's fitness or other areas, and you want to present an image and present your message, it's worth the investment.
Yep. That was actually the point that we made when we were just talking about setup stuff and recommending gear before we were recording, was how the quality stuff that we know works, it might have a price on it.
Mhm.
But the hours and the story that I always tell whenever I do webinars or lectures is about microphones.
Okay.
With I There was a time in my my career when I was filming content and I used a very poor microphone. It was something less than $100 off of Amazon, and it cut out so many times. I can't tell you how many video shoots it ruined, hours of content, that once I eventually did it, I bought a nice Rode Go microphone. Sean and I both have this microphone. It's what I highly recommend. It does have a price associated with it, but there was a point in time with microphones, lavalier microphones, that there was no medium. There was either really expensive, 500 plus, or really cheap that never worked. So something in the middle that's quality, that's going to last you for a long time. That's one of those products right there, the Rode Go. And I will say that there is a knockoff version these days off of Amazon. I can't remember the company,
I
but
have it works most of the time.
yeah, it works for the instructors that I have with Time to Train. If you know that that is a company that I own, it's uh, about two instructors have it, and it does work. I mean, they're not using it extensively, but it does work for them. It gets the job done. It is just a knockoff version of the Road Go, but again, getting the Road Go just puts you up into another area there. And with the setup too, what really amazed me with Sean's setup, and I'm going to try my best to explain this for everybody listening, is that essentially he has, I think, a three camera angle. A three camera angle that he can switch between when he's instructing his class. And a common question that I've seen and gotten a handful of times is, well, what if I'm on the ground and then I'm going to stand up? Do I need what angle do you recommend? Should I be adjusting it between or after? Sean has eliminated that. And I'm not saying, if you're listening right now, that you need to get a two camera angle. There is a learning curve associated with that. There's different equipment, splitters, or boards to use for it, but it creates an experience. He's created a nice experience that if he is on the ground, if he is doing Turkish sit-ups, if he is doing planks, that he can just flip a switch and all of a sudden the camera quality is just as high and it is at an appropriate angle for that person on the other side. So these are little things that answer that question about, oh, is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. There's a little bit of an experience with that.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining that. And so the first level we're talking about is the Elgato one camera setup, and that is fantastic. There's two ways to approach the multi-camera, and the first way I went about it is I got a second HDMI capture card. I got a knockoff brand. I think Tyler had a brand like this, and it worked pretty dang good. So you
Mhm.
can switch and zoom between different cameras physically in the software, you know. So um, and again, people will notice the quality of content. I don't know if I should go on record saying this, but I was hired by Pavel from StrongFirst to actually record
Mhm.
because they saw the quality of the content I was able to do live. And so this investment you make into your business, it might pay off in ways you never seek. I
Yep.
would never in a million years guess that I would be working directly with my like hero of all heroes for kettlebells. Like I've got hundreds of pounds of kettlebells right behind me and get to work with him and mic him up with a wireless Go microphone, you know, and then use the cameras we use to do our Zoom classes. Now we're recording him as we present internationally for a big seminar. Again, if you're putting out content, and I know this is a tip we didn't talk about yet, but like I suggest giving people on social media a little feed of what you're doing. If you're recording these high quality things, take a little snippet and show people what you're doing. It will blow their mind, and they'll reach out to you and either ask how you built it. You can help them build it. If you have affiliate link set up, which we might get to in a minute, you might get a kickback from that, and or they might hire you to teach a class to them or their family, or to help them serve their audience, like I've done for law firms and for doctors' offices and stuff. So you get to become a presenter for many different levels. It's just a lot of fun. I'm a nerd for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, but that's such a good point that people will see and be amazed with the quality that you can put out there. And I know I've helped other fitness professionals with their setup sometimes for free, just because with the times that we've been in, I just feel that it's sometimes for me it's more rewarding for me, just to help them for free with it. And oftentimes when they see the quality of streams that are possible, and just for example, just because Sean knows with Time to Train, we offer a high quality live streaming workouts too, and it's that quality that they didn't know, and oftentimes it's because right now a lot of people are on Zoom. That's what we're recording this through. That's how I can see Sean, but you're just going to be listening on this. But there's so many factors with Zoom that I often say not to use Zoom, but with other items out there, you can offer such a high quality video, audio, and it's searching, searching, finding, researching, testing. That's one of the other things that I'm sure Sean has gone through this as well, that when you purchase something, it might not work, might not be worth your part of your setup. I've returned things, I've resold things, got things secondhand, resold those. If it doesn't work, just return it, sell it. There's somebody else that might find some use out of it. And that kind of brings us to our next question about the learning curve with this. Sean, I think, does have a little bit of an IT background, but there is a learning curve for a lot of us with it. Can you share some of the learning curve for you at the kind of what the beginning was like for you? I mean, night and day. Even though you had a quality stream just a couple months ago, it's almost night and day again with just quality improvement for your setup.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Trial and error, and let Tyler and I be most of your failure and save you some time and money, because we have tried a lot of things.
Yep.
In my podcast, I've had the opportunity to talk with Tyler and some other really big names. And so each time I would go back and review the video or audio, I'm like, I can do better. And I'm not saying you have to use equipment that I have, but at the moment, it's highly professional. I got a Rodecaster Pro 4-channel podcasting mixer. I have an ATEM Mini 4K switch, which again is overkill, but I've able to make money using these, serving other professionals and working with them. So for me, it's worth the investment. But again, I think the capture card, a good microphone like the Rode, and the lighting's it's actually probably the cheapest part and probably the most effective. Honestly, like the lights I use in my studio here, I think all in were $200, and they're on a remote control, and they can change kelvins, and they're overkill for most people. The camera lighting I use most often is $40. And for my wife, she was in HR and she's on meetings all the time. I got her a little light ring from Amazon, and everybody's like, wow, because she does intake for new hires, new attorneys and stuff. And that light ring, $20 some. Lighting, audio, and then camera and all
the but you bring a really good point with the setup, but even the lighting, the cost with stuff. I have and you'll probably hear this a lot through the episode about Sean we'll throw each other the compliments back and forth, but Sean recommended a light that I use for my setup. If you've seen some of the tutorials on KIPS, you'll see this overhead light that I utilize for it, $40, great for its purpose. With lighting, and it's 100% agree that the lighting can make a big difference. I will use this example of an older laptop that I have that I occasionally use if I'm on the go or working on the couch, whatever that might be. But if I want to utilize that one for a quick Zoom meeting because I don't want to set up all the other gear, I'll just throw on my overhead light, and immediately the video quality looks better. But at the same time, it's important to realize what the purpose of these certain lights are. This overhead light is not something that you want lighting yourself if you're doing a streaming workout. It's just not powerful enough. And that's one of the common mistakes that I see with some individuals that will take, I'm just going to bring the ring light example into it. Great for meetings, for Zooms, because it's a close-up light. But if you try to take that light and now light yourself when you're 6 feet away, 8 feet away, and doing a workout, no bueno. You're not gonna see any type of improvement, and you'll just essentially be just taking some electricity out on your bill. So finding out the purpose for these different lights is really important for you. If you want to make sure that the lights are powerful enough, and just doing a little extra research can really make a difference on that.
Absolutely. No, you're right. The ring lighting is fantastic for like talking head stuff like we're doing right now. But yeah, it won't be adequate if you're a fitness professional. Um, the, I really think the setup that I have, it paid for itself in the first week. And right now I have it on like 10% out of 100%. And it's lighting up the room. And what it allows me to do is that obviously December, it's the shortest month of the year for daylight. So I'm able to train people in the evenings or early mornings, and they don't know that there's no light outside. It looks so you add some hours in your day.
Yep.
So again, these are all investments, and even after things calm down, this is my opinion. After things calm down, it's still going to be great to offer these online services because now we can affect people outside of our bubble. I know a lot of us worked in a gym or gyms. I had 2 gyms closed down in one day, so I feel the pain a lot of you guys are going through. But the ability to now serve people anywhere in the world and or create videos that they can purchase when you're asleep, some passive income, is just amazing. I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. So if you can, I would definitely invest in the microphone and the lighting at the very least. And then the third thing would probably be the camera and the HDMI card. But yeah, lighting and microphone.
Yeah, yeah, and with talking about all this technology, and this is a great point to bring it up with using it for additional parts. Sean, can you quickly run through your setup when you're just doing your outdoor videos? Because I'm sure it's a little bit different. Can you run through that quickly?
Running and gunning, that's a term people might have heard. Is so. What is the simplest way to shoot a high quality video on the go? Like turn on the camera, the microphone's on, and run and gun. In Engearment, I would get a chance to interview like Patagonia, North Face at the outdoor retailer shows, and we do 100 videos in 4 days. That's nuts. You don't have time to get the lighting just right. So my quick go-to setup is a Sony ZV-1 and then the Rode Wireless Go. And literally I'll put it on a tripod, on a rock, or on my truck. And it could be a snowstorm behind me, my dog's running around, and it works. And it works really, really well. And it comes with, you can get a media kit. It's got a remote control, so you can zoom in and zoom out, focus, defocus, blur the background, all the things. And it almost always works. I finally had it freeze because it literally was 1 degree on Wednesday when I was filming, and it finally froze. I doubt you'll be filming at 1 degrees Fahrenheit for fitness videos. I was, and I finally froze. But long story longer, again, it produces such a high quality image. It shoots in 4K. You can use it as a webcam. You can get external power supply for it so it never runs out of power. Like I filmed a 9-hour seminar with this as a prime camera, and it maybe $590 for the camera, and it just works great. It's got Sony technology, so the autofocus, as Tyler knows, the autofocus is ridiculously fast. And so if you're a fitness professional, imagine you're doing a kettlebell swing and you got to have that quick autofocus. This is the way to go.
Yeah, yeah, and finding the additional value, which we keep hammering home on. I know we're talking about online streaming training now, but if there are fit pros that are wanting to make a library of exercises, content for social media to promote these services, all of these things could be used. You don't have to just use it for your streaming workouts. If you're getting a high quality camera, microphone, why not make that content 20 times better? If people are watching your Instagram videos and they can actually hear you, it doesn't sound like you're in I'll say a hurricane or anything like that. Yeah, they're probably going to be more interested. They'll see your professionalism through it. So utilizing this gear across different levels, definitely possibility. And one more mistake that I just have to throw in there because I've seen instructors utilize it. Sean had mentioned the whole Blue Yeti microphone. I don't know if Sean, do you have one of those?
Oh, I had one for like 2 days.
I have one. That's what I'm filming on right now, recording on right now. But I've seen some instructors try to utilize this in their workout, and it's the purpose. This microphone is not made for you standing 6-8 feet away and working out with. It's meant for my face is probably 6 to 10 inches away from it as I'm recording right now. I mean, you can change the direction that the audio is coming in for it, but it's not made for your streaming workouts. Getting appropriate stuff. And you think about it, the Rode Go, and to be honest, if I wanted to record this podcast with it, we probably could. We could both throw on our Rode Goes and we could record with it. Is that at the purpose of it? No, but we could because it's that good. So it goes both ways with the Rode Go, and we're just trying to stress the quality of it on that right there.
That's a very good point. And the Blue Yeti, I didn't mean to speak ill of it. It is fantastic for what we're doing right now. But yeah, like Tyler said, it is not for being far away. Like my microphone I'm using right now is a dynamic microphone going through a process. That sounds good if I'm right up on it, but you can't be right up on the microphone when you're training people virtually. So yeah, either you get a really nice high-end shotgun microphone and you mount it from the ceiling and you do all the things, which you've done, or you just create that Rode Wireless Go that you already got. And it does work. I've actually used it for probably 5 different podcasts I've used it for out of last year, and it sounds really, really good.
Yeah. So it's there's so many uses for some of the gear we're talking about. You just gotta sometimes bite the bullet with the cost of it, because I try to think of what I paid for mine. I think I got it on a little bit of a deal. I know I paid a little under $200, but expecting to pay between $200 to $220 is about what you're going to see for a Rode Go with that. But it's, again, Sean's right on it with the hierarchy. Lighting, audio make a big difference. And oftentimes these days, somebody has an iPhone in their pocket, an iPad at home that you could use for your camera that's going to provide something that's high quality for your clients. And that kind of steamrolls into our next question about the technology and the experience for people. Sean, with your setup, which is just phenomenal, what do you think that does for the people on the other side? How do you think that what they take from it?
I don't want to speak for them, but when I see their face light up for the first time when they jump on their first class, they're like, this is a possibility consistently. They have confidence now. They're like, this person's professional. This person invested in presenting in, whatever kind of class or whatever kind of fitness you're offering. You already invested in the education. You're now in a new realm of presenting. So why not just invest in the technology to get the content over to your people? They will appreciate it. They will appreciate it. Yeah, hands down.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. And when I think about quote unquote traditional working in a brick and mortar, we try to find different ways to be a professional. How do we stay professional in our industry? We talk about those types of things, and just right now, or even online workouts, there's different avenues to be professional. And I mean, something that we haven't even talked about yet is with tripods. But if you are doing a streaming workout and you are trying to MacGyver your phone or your camera so that it's just somewhere on the ground or holding somewhere, so nobody's going to want to pay for that. You can still offer something that's highly professional that people will easily be like, okay, your price per hour is $75. Definitely. This is definitely worth my time. You've made it easier for me to, I can save, with whether it's their gym being closed or whatnot, I'm saving on there. This is a great cost. I see the value in it. You are building that value. That's often a term you hear with personal trainers in their education or even in different types of offerings. Building value. You're building value in your service so that when they see it, it's something that where's my credit card? Where's my Visa? I'm going to swipe it right now.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Oh gosh, I used to see this all the time when people would shoot little videos for Facebook, Instagram. They just lean their phone up against the wall. I'm like, oh my god! For your birthday, I'm buying you a tripod. It's you can get a tripod for like $15, $20. You can carbon graphite one that's $180 that you just absolutely do not need. But but the one I'm using right now to film on, $35 tops. But what it does is it allows you to have the appropriate camera angle, which is very important. And know the camera angle. I often advise people to have either at eye level or a little bit higher, and then looking down a little bit. It's more flattering for you, for one. They don't want turkey chin, but a tripod. Plus, they're portable. So just to drive home how important and how valuable the gear is, I always in my backpack, whether I'm going anywhere, I do fortunately get to go to my gym still. It's very reduced capacity, but even when I go to the gym, if I go outdoors, I carry the camera, the Rode Wireless Go, and the tripod. That way, on the spur of the moment, I can create a series of exercises. I can create gear reviews. I can create anything. And the video quality and audio quality is consistently great. And people know to expect that. They know I just didn't shoot it, willy-nilly on my cell phone in a windstorm. And so they come to expect this quality. To Tyler's point, they will trust you more. They'll look to you as the authority person for this category, and they know that they're going to get value. They're not going to waste their time viewing your video with horrible audio. They know they're going to get high quality. And again, you're worth it. You've already invested your education in your fitness, in your business. Just show how good you are on the camera to your people.
Yep. Agree. 100% agree with that. Then, thinking about the experience, the members, and what they're going to get out of it, why not make their choice easier for them? It's a item that I keep going to this example of when you worked in a gym. I used to be a personal trainer and worked in a gym, and how can I attract new members? How can I, build my client list? These are items that can put you ahead of competition. That's something you I feel like when you start off, you talk with your manager about that. How can I compete against these trainers that have been here a while? And an argument that you see a lot in the fitness industry is about education and experience of trainers, and how somebody with just a weekend certification can get clients. They can be a well-established, they can be a personal trainer that makes a good income, a good career out of it. Here is now fast forwarding to 2020, December 2020, and here is something how you can set up a career with this. There is the possibility for this. And just the point that I'm trying to make is that this investment, and I'm glad that Sean did say earlier that the first week of him getting this stuff, it definitely paid for himself, just with the ability to create that consistency, people being flattered with it and wanting to be a part of it, creating that engagement, all things that we want in an online presence. So really fascinating stuff there. So Sean, next one with the purchases that you make. So this is something really interesting, because as you climb up the ladder of technology, buying this gear, what are some of the items that you've purchased that make your setup easier, make your life easier when you're doing this?
Oh, good question. I think buying high quality gear that works is been priceless to me. Well, I know it had a price at one point, but knowing I can count on the gear, like I mentioned, and down to 1 degree Fahrenheit, knowing I can have the battery life as long as I have the proper cords plugged into it, last a whole day of use. Knowing the microphones always work and always sound good. So the setup I mentioned a few minutes ago, the Sony ZV or VZ1, it just came out in May, and it was designed to be the simplest, most attractive looking camera for entry-level users. And meaning you can, without adjusting any settings, just push record or stream through it, and it's going to look amazing. It makes you look like you know what you're doing, even if you don't, right? I've definitely spent more money on other cameras and lenses that took a more learning curve to learn how to make them look as good as this camera does. And I'm not sponsored by Sony, but I'm a fan of this camera, and I'll set up because it works. So again, everybody here listening to this or whatever has had that strike of creativity. Oh, I want to create this sometime. This client asked for this workout video. I want to shoot it right now. If you can quickly turn on the microphone, quickly turn on the camera, put it on, it's already on a tripod probably, like my backpack, I pull out the tripod, stick it on a plyo box or on top of the desk and record when you're just peaking with creative energy. That right there is worth the investment right there, I think. So at the very least, the camera, the microphone, and then the lighting, of course, which we talked about. Those have been great investments. Sure, I have higher end stuff that I do use on a daily basis that I would recommend if somebody had the wherewithal to get. If you're going to be hosting an international podcast or seminars, that's coming handy. At the very least, would be that's under $1,000 for all things and it's professional quality, legit professional quality. In fact, a lot of YouTube videos you see are shot with this exact setup. So, estimate. It's good enough for a person on YouTube with 2 million subscribers. It's good enough for you.
Yeah.
Just find a way to get it.
Yeah. That So it's a very good point with the credibility of it, but even the purpose of it. Something that Sean and I were actually chatting about right before record. Another item. Sean and I are friends, so of course we talk before we record. That something that I highly recommend these days is the iPad Pro, and this goes into what is your uses for it. When Sean and I talk about these items, we use these for multiple items. Sean filming product reviews, um, Sean filming exercises, doing his streams for his clients, all these types of things. The gear all works together for it. For myself, the question came up today was, when should I buy a high quality camera? Somebody that I consult for asked this to me because they know that I have. It was when we were doing a little Zoom meeting today. She saw it in behind me. It was right over my shoulder, and so she asked. I have a Sony A6400. If people are wondering, it's a very nice camera, but it's over $1,000, and but that's one of the items that I use quite a bit. I use on a weekly basis because of what I do for my profession. With KIPS, I'm filming lectures, I'm filming webinars, I'm filming YouTube tutorials, items that this camera comes in handy. Can I stream with it? I sure can. I do have a cam link. I can connect it to my computer and I can stream with it. And it's great for streaming. But for somebody that is not doing those, an iPad Pro can check many boxes for you. Quality camera, quality processor in the machine. It's essentially being able to compete with the laptop, what they're putting in the iPad Pro these days, that you can run your business, do your streams, record content, and then now you just got to think about some of the other items that Sean and I talked about with lights, a microphone to add into there. But that's another great piece to think about, especially with the quality of what they do with these iPads these days. Really high quality.
That's a good point. And something I was thinking about too. I don't have an iPad Pro, but that would be, I think, about the same price point as the setup I just mentioned. So you could do the iPad Pro. One of the benefits I think of that would you have a large screen to view yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Opposed to a smaller screen on the camera if you're not streaming into it. And plus, then you have an iPad. You can watch movies and read books and stuff.
Yep. Good point. Very good point. That it's just multi-purpose. The screen on it, I mean, it's a Retina display on it. Such a beautiful piece of machinery, really. And the cost on it, they are pricey, but they have the relatively new, or it is very new, the iPad Mini that came out, or the iPad Air that also came out that has a similar processor in it. But you just got to look at the specs, compare it to what your needs are as a Fit Pro, and how that fits into your budget and what you want to do. There's still other items on there. I'm not just saying just buy the iPad Pro. That's going to solve all your issues. Your tripod, your lights, microphone, those all come into play. And this is just one of the items that can hopefully make it a little more efficient for you. So let's get to the podcast takeaways here, Sean. This is can be a little dicey, and that's what we try to do with the podcast takeaway is ask a question that can potentially be dicey. And I always tell the guests that they can answer it however they want. If they want to throw in some stuff in there, please feel free. There's nothing. Everybody that listens to the podcast, they know that this is about professional development and along those tracks. So, Sean, what are your thoughts on at-home training moving forward past December 2020?
Well, I'll tell you, the first week or so, I was pretty concerned, that we wouldn't be in person anymore. But I have quickly appreciated what we can do online, and I don't see it going anywhere. If anything, I think it's become more prevalent as people realize, well, there's a lot to realize. One, you can do it, the student, the client can do it at their own home. They can share that experience with loved ones. I love seeing the kiddos or dogs or the husband or the wife come in the room and join, especially in the group classes. It's really rewarding to be able to still be of service and be valuable to other people, even though it can't be in person for all the obvious reasons. And then also, I think it's just people are appreciating the time value as well. They don't have to drive anywhere. They don't have to use up resources, fuel, parking. There's a whole host of things that they're saving now. Sure, they're missing the in-person socializing, but I tell you what, I always open up my cameras 10 minutes before and stay 5 minutes later just to kind of riff with people and just to have a connection. And it's been a lifesaver for me, honestly, to be able to still see the people I care about. And if anything, new people, a lot of new people are jumping on this that I never even thought would be my target audiences. And so that right there has been amazing too. And I don't think it's going to go anywhere. If anything, it's become more prevalent. Even if things do go to less restrictive, I think that people are going to appreciate the ability to hire somebody that's not even in their same zip code and get exceptionally high quality service. Yeah, I don't see it going anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with it. And the point that I bring up a lot with this is that there were companies already doing this prior to the shutdown, that there were fitness companies, big ones, going online, making at-home fitness popular. And so it really just made this exponentially grow. And it's really something that you got to really look at for your business, and it can make things more efficient. The point that Sean just said, that it's been part of my life for quite a while. I do have a gym membership. I haven't used it in quite a while, but I have an at-home gym, a relatively nice at-home gym, and it saves me 15, 20 minutes in the car. I can now take that time and apply it somewhere else in my life. If I need to do a house errand, if I want to spend time with my wife, if I want to do something with my cats, I can take that time with it and apply it somewhere else. So it's an efficiency thing. It's how you want to spend your time. If you want to spend it in your car driving, feel free. I enjoy going to the gym when able to. So it's just something to consider with at-home training for fit pros and how you want to invest in items and all that kind of stuff moving forward. So before we sign off here, Sean, please make sure, drop and tell everybody more about Engearment, Colorado Personal Fitness. I'll give the social media stuff, all that stuff.
Oh, I appreciate the opportunity. If you enjoy the outdoors and you'd like to learn more about outdoor gear, I do own and operate a company called Engearment.com. We have 35 riders, men and women of all ages and backgrounds. And we work with Patagonia, Black Diamond, any company you've probably ever heard of, and probably a lot that you haven't. We work directly with them to test their gear out in the real world. And then I often shoot videos with my dogs in a blizzard. And then we write about it, and hopefully it helps save you some money and find out what is the right gear for you in your adventures, whether it's stand-up paddleboarding, splitboarding, skiing, biking, running, and fitness. And it's just a pleasure to work with these riders and work with international companies and go out there, use the camera that we're just talking about in a different situation to earn an income. And a lot of different ways to put food on the table. And then the fitness business, I've been training for probably 15 years now, and I love it. I really enjoy helping people. My Colorado Personal Fitness is part online and part in person, and I enjoy using kettlebells and TRX and mace to help people get fit for the outdoors and use that gear that they just bought from Engearment.
Good stuff. Really good stuff. I've personally watched the Engearment videos, quality stuff. You might be able to hop on YouTube right now, go check some of those out and see, wow, Sean is using the exact gear that he talked about, just as I said. So Sean, as always, thank you for coming on. We are definitely going to need to set up another episode to talk about affiliate marketing, product reviews. Again, another source of revenue there for Fit Pros. So we'll set something up. We'll get that episode scheduled. But thank you all for listening. Make sure that you subscribe wherever you're listening to on this podcast, whether it's Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, or iTunes. Subscribe so that you're notified when the next episode comes out. Thank you all for listening.